Hello students, this is Ms. Medina, and in this video we're going to talk about the rate of change when the information is given in graphical form. So this problem says the function y equals f of x is graphed below. What is the average rate of change of this function f of x on the interval between 1 and 4? All right, so we know we want the rate of change, ROC, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We know that we need 2 points, right? So point number 1 starts off with x equals 1. We don't know the y. And then point number 2 starts off with x equals 4, and we don't know the y, okay? We know that this is going to be our x1 and our y1, our x2 and our y2, right? And when the time comes, we're going to subtract them. But we need to find them. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find x equals 1. So you go to the x-axis and we find x equals 1. If I can zoom in. Right, x equals 1 right here. And it looks at the y value is 4. So we know this y value is 4. Now we're going to look for x equals 4. Of course, it's not cooperating, so hold on one moment. Okay, I got it to work. And so we're looking for x equals 4, which is right here, and the function value is over here. So that is 16, okay? So we're going to go over here, and we know that the function value is 16. That's all you have to do. There's no calculating or anything like that. You just have to be able to read the graph. Now we just have to do the rate of change calculation. Like I said, it's going to be y2 minus y1. This is y2, and this is y1. So the rate of change is going to be 16 minus 4 over x2 minus x1. So over 4 minus 1. And yes, we can do this in our heads, but just so that we don't make a mistake, we're going to use decimals. 16 minus 4 over 4 minus 1. And that's a positive 4, which means this function is increasing between that interval. And I don't know why I didn't write, but when x equals 4 is here, right? And it makes sense, see? It's going up. Okay, this function right here. This function is graphed below, and we want to know the rate of change, right? So ROC, and like I said before in my previous videos, the more you write it, the more it goes into permanent memory. So that next week you're not asking yourself, what was that equation? You just go straight to your brain. There it is. And you were given that the interval is from x equals 1 to x equals 8, right? So you have 2 points. Point number 1 starts with x equals 1, but we don't know why. And point number 2, x equals 8, but we don't know why. And once again, just to reiterate, since it's an instructional video, x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we're going to go to the graph, and we're going to look at x equals 1. So when x equals 1, the function value is right here, and that is, goodness gracious, what is this? So if this is negative 20, this one has to be negative 10. Okay, and the other one is when x equals 8. X equals 8 right here, so we need to rise to this point right here, and that is 60. Right, so if I connect these two, you'll notice that this is an increase, right? So we should be expecting a positive rate of change. Let's calculate it. Okay, ROC is going to be y2 minus y1. Okay. It's going to be 60 minus a negative 10. over x2 minus x1. So it's going to be 8 minus 1. All right, taking to the calculator. So that is 60 minus a negative 10 over 8 minus 1. That gives us a positive 10. And like we said, we were expecting it to be a positive increase, okay? And to be an increase, a change, an increased change. All right, two more problems. So this is the function. What is the average rate of change on this interval? Okay, so let me just write our thing. ROC is y2 over minus y1, x2 minus x1. My first point is going to be -1, comma, we don't know the y. And the second point is +1, we don't know the y. Right, always keeping in mind x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so let's find the values in the graph. So when x equals -1, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. When x equals -1, the function value is right here at 8, right? Because this is -1, 8. So I'm going to write -1, 8. And when x equals 1, x equals 1 here, so it'd be right here. So what is this value? Well, if this is -4, then this one has to be -2, right? So this point is 1 comma -2. And look, when I connect these, it's a positive increase, right? It's rising. What did I say? 1, -2. All right, so now you just calculate. Remember this, when subtract the numbers. So -2 minus 8 over 1 minus a -1. Okay, now we use the calculator. Decimals, -2 minus 8 over 1, subtract the -1. -5. And this doesn't make sense. I made a mistake somewhere along the line because it's supposed to be an increase and this says that it's a decrease. So let's go back and see what did we do wrong. Oh, I see it already. Right here. That is not a +8, that is a -8. Clear? A -8. So it's -2 minus a -8. Okay, so let me clean this up. It's -2 minus a -8 over 1 minus a -1. Okay, so let's recalculate this. And -2 minus -8 over 1 minus a -1 is a +3. And now it makes most sense. It's a positive number, which means yes, indeed, it is an increase, okay? Whew. Oh, I'm sorry if you were struggling watching me make that mistake, okay? But I did end up fixing it, so thank you for keeping your patience. All right, so for this one, we're doing the rate of change, and the first point is x equals -1, right, from here. And the second point is x equals 9 from there. And we need the counterpart. So we need to go to the graph at -1, right here. The function is here. -4, -8, -12. This is -10. Right, so this point is -1, -10. I got the sign right this time. -10. And when x equals 9, which is right here, go down to this point. What's that? Between these two is -14. So this is 9, -14. All right, and if we look at this, you'll see that It is technically a decrease, so this answer should end up being negative. All right, so the rate of change should be this negative 14 minus the negative 10, and this 9 minus the negative 1. All right, putting this in the calculator, we get negative 14 minus negative 10, and then 9 minus negative 1. So it's a decimal, so you're going to click here and turn it into a fraction, and it's negative 2 over 5. And the main thing is that it's negative, which we knew because it was going to be a decrease, okay? All right, thank you, and I hope this helps.